Hi guys, this is Vidas.
And Ausra.
Let's start episode 115 of Ask Vidas and Osha podcast. And today's question was sent by Neil, and he writes, my challenge is with concentration. Practicing a voluntary is one thing, but when playing the piece at the end of the service, I feel under pressure and can take mistakes even though the run through before the service went okay. That's all. Regards, Neil. So a lot of people struggle with this, right? Focus, concentration.
Yes, I think so. But since he writes that before service, when he practiced, he could play okay the same piece, I think it might be not only concentration but also performance anxiety.
I see. Do you mean that when playing before the service, he can play without many mistakes because he is less nervous? Or prelude or voluntary might be easier than the toccata at the end. What do you think?
Well, that's a good question. I'm just thinking, that maybe he gets tired after playing entire service. And I don't know what is tradition in his church, but maybe people stay to listen for the postlude,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe postlude is more virtuoso piece than prelude. I'm not sure exactly, but yes, everybody or many of us have concentration problem.
I kind of feel that he might be not only tired but feeling the end of the playing, the end of the service, right? And his job is almost done, and his mind is almost relaxed. Therefore, it's like playing the last piece of the recital or the last page of the piece. Sometimes we make stupid mistakes this way.
Yes, that's true. Sometimes after playing a hard spot, you just think, oh, I played it so well, and then the mistake comes.
Remember legendary organist?
Marilyn Mason.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought about her too.
What did she say?
Well, she would say, that it's your recital it's not over until you are in a parking lot next to your car. So, meaning that you have to keep your concentration until the very last end. Because even, after you release your final chord, if you will not be careful, you might, hit the, the note of something.
Or pedals,
Or
step on the
pedals,
pedals.
yes, that's happening.
Or when climbing off the organ bench, you would press the extreme high or low keys with your hand.
Yes, because of course, if you have a cancel button, then you can solve that problem.
Hmm.
Just press cancel. But if it's mechanical organ and no, you forgot
To turn.
to take off some stops, then yes, that's a possibility.
Yeah, because on mechanical organ, if you uh, play very loudly and want to reduce the registration, suddenly you have to do all those mechanical changes by hand. And some people don't do this right away because it's very noisy.
That's right. For example, in our church at St. John's.
Hmm. So yeah, did you also have this experience yourself when playing church service? Towards the end, you would make mistakes or get more nervous than before
Actually, no. It's easier for me to play the end of recital or of service.
because nobody's listening, right?
Well, no, not because that. For me, the hardest are probably the 10 first minutes of performing.
Like in any basketball match, right? There, both teams are very nervous and they both testing the ground and sees who is stronger, right? But afterwards, they kind of get in the flow.
I know. It's like, these four different characters of people. types of people, that some can be very excited at the beginning and do things energetically, and then we lose the energy very soon.
Mm-hmm.
And for some, it's very hard to begin to do a work, but after beginning, we can just keep going forever. And I think I belong to these later ones. For me, it's the hardest to start.
What about me? What do you think? Which group do I belong
I
to?
don't know. You should decide about yourself.
Because sometimes I kind of feel that I also uh, move very slowly at the beginning, but tend to go very long with excitement. But on other times, I get excited very fast, and my focus switches to also before I reach the end of the project.
Yes, but going back to Neil problem, I would suggest that for every postlude that he is going to play, he would find himself some sort of not a big assignment. He would assign himself some sort of new thing to do in that. I don't know, maybe, to sing in his mind tenor voice, or, focus more on cadences, or find something in his piece that would keep his concentration going on.
And take his mind off that pressure.
Yes, yes, and just think about that particular thing that he has to do in his piece.
I usually tend to advise people to focus their their eyes on the current measure. That keeps them really focused uh, throughout the piece. As the measures keep flowing, your also mind keeps flowing. Your gaze keeps coming along. But then you don't pay attention to any outside things like choir members walking or talking outside of the organ, right? Would that help, Osha?
Yes, could be. And I'm thinking that concentration is probably one of the biggest problem for everybody.
Because, of course, technology and this instant gratification culture in our society rewards people with very short attention span, right? Ads everywhere, click and change every few seconds, and stimuli in on the web are also constantly switching and changing, and everything is so colorful and bright. So yeah, we get confused, and focus is not a strong thing for us.
Well, yes, and because we are talking about postlude, I believe that all kind of movement is going on during the postlude. Because some people are probably listening, but some are maybe already leaving the church and moving. And I don't know what about choir members if we are, listening to your postlude or we are also talking,
Yeah,
chatting.
chatting definitely. I think that that place of the service is really
The noisiest,
the
probably.
noisiest.
Yes.
Nobody is really paying attention. Everybody is cheering that it's over, and they want to interact with each other, right? Uh, because they didn't see each other for a week,
That's right.
and suddenly organ music distracts them from interacting in this case.
Yes.
But the organist has to stay out of this, right?
Yes.
You have to keep going until the very end.
Yes, that's why you need to play your postlude, on organo pleno registration. Just play it loud.
So that they could not really sort of chat loudly enough,
Yes, make them listen to you.
like a thunder from above, right?
Yes.
Like God's voice. Excellent. Also, do you think that people could uh, strengthen their concentration somehow over time? Are there any exercises?
Yes, I think so.
What helps to you?
Meditation, probably. But of course, not everybody can meditate.
you don't have to call it meditation, right?
Yes, just
It's breathing.
yes. Or yoga for some people help.
Hmm.
And I realized that yoga for me is actually a torture
Hmm.
because you have to concentrate, you have to breathe. But I think it might help,
And
for
in yoga, time passes so slowly, right?
I know. It's just it's very hard. I find it very hard.
Hmm. But
I
breathing
like
is
more
important.
dynamic, exercises. But I think this thing could help, and also all other like intellectual games.
Where you have to focus for a longer time.
Yes, like maybe Sudoku, or I don't know, doing crisscross.
Or reading, even reading long form books, right? Not from newspapers and magazines with flashy pictures, but real real books, novels, um, fiction writing, where you have to sit for a longer time with one work and immerse yourself in another life or in another world. That helps, right?
Yes.
Okay, guys, what would your last advice, Osha, for Neil be?
Well, for Neil and for everybody else, and even for myself, I think that working on concentration is a lifelong goal. So eventually you will succeed. I hope so. And that's what I wish for you all, and for myself too.
And enjoy this process, right? Because the results are far away. Excellent. This was Vidas.
And Osha,
And remember, when you practice,
miracles happen.